being cheap and the FEMI being cheap. And wow, it went live fast. That was quick. So here we are in Drone Therapy Season 3, Episode 5, I believe. Yes. Wow. And I'm not muted. Fast. That was quick. What? So hadn't done that one in a while. Everybody mute quickly before we really do it. Oh, so I was the only one that dropped the ball that time. Anyway, Season 3, Episode 5. We called this Cam versus FPV because a lot of times you'll have FPV pilots saying that camera birds are like elitist and like nerdy. And so we figured we'd talk about that, even though we all get along and we all fly both a lot of times. But first off, I wanted to throw it around the room and let everybody introduce him first. First off, I'm going to go to John Cuppi. John.
Hey guys, glad to be back on the show. I'm an FPVer and a camera bird flyer, and I've got no problems with that.
Where are you at, John, if you might tell us?
I'm in my new house. This is the first day with the new internet. Hopefully, it's better than the other weeks.
Oh, well, it's really cool, and the lighting's phenomenal, and you look really classy with the earbuds.
And I know. And we got the fireplace over there. Should I turn the fireplace on? No, I'm not turning it on this summer.
All right, who's next?
Thank you.
Gary.
I'm Nemo. I am a FPV pilot. I am also an occasional Phantom pilot, and I think we can all get along too.
I was going to say you're a reformed camera bird pilot.
I'll break it out every once in a blue moon.
Yeah. Ron.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Bill. This is Ron from sunny and hot and stormy New Jersey tonight, right down the street from somebody we're going to meet later on. I'm also a camera bird guy, and I do have a couple tiny whoops that I fly in the house with FPV goggles. I don't have the skills that some other people in this panel have, but I can get between rooms in the house on a good day. So it's going to be a good discussion tonight. We got a great panel, and I'm going to pass it back to Bill Thomas and Mika to introduce our guest host tonight. And you're going to love this guy. I know him personally, and he's a top pilot. Take it away, Bill.
Very, very cool. Glad for you passing it back to me, Ron. Yes, our guest tonight happens to be both, like a lot of members on the panel tonight. He started out in FPV, kind of hooked up with some guys he's doing the show with now, and kind of went into camera birds. So without further ado, let me pass it over to our ailing but still being a trooper, Tommy Polo.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate it. Tommy Polo with co-hosted Drone Owners Network show on Saturday nights on YouTube. Let's see. I started the FPV stuff, and I found I bought a little plastic toy drone at one point, and then I started watching YouTube videos, and it was Chad Nowak of Rotor Riot at the time that blew my mind. I said, "Whoa, I got to do this!" So I went out and spent the money and got the drone. I think I got a Machine Wizard was the first one I got, and then I got into building my own, and I started getting better at them. Building them, flying them, loving it, crashing, all the good stuff. Then I wanted to see what I started reading about the 107 stuff and some of this camera stuff, and it was like, sometimes it's nice to fly, nice and chill, and just take some pictures. So I invested in this bird over here, got the 107, and started a business that's doing absolutely nothing right now, but I have high hopes, and I'm not giving up. Bill, back to you, and we'll get going on the main topics for the evening.
Okay, very cool, and I'm glad to know that, because I didn't know. Like, you're an idol for me now, because I want a 107, and I need to actually start studying and get off my butt, because I know there's at least one more person on the panel that has access to the same website that I do, and we both need to go ahead and get that, I guess. But before we really got heavy duty into the talking about the two areas and how they're different, how they're alike, I wanted to give quick shout outs to the people in the chat. I can see Birdman's in the house. I can see Ethan Mitchell's in the house. David Ma's in the house. Brian Quadfather FPV's in the house. Our crazy man. If you haven't checked out anybody in the house, please get by and check out all the channels here. We all know that you can't check out every video they got every week. We understand that support's kind of, you do your best, but try your best to at least give some more subscribers and check out good channels and give some good input and everything. I can see Ron's appeared in the chat. Ron Brown, good to see you in the chat. Nemo's in the chat. Good to see. John Cuppi just popped.
Oh, hey.
I feel like I'm getting, maybe it's those pills I've been taking recently. I don't know. But
I've got the chat up on my phone now, so.
Oh, okay, cool. But before we got into that, I wanted to bring up a couple of cool things that I had seen floating around. A couple of weeks ago, people have been talking about the new Black Xeno that at the time happened to be, I think it was only on Geek Buying. Well, now it's available for a couple more days on Banggood, I believe, for $2.99 and under. And I think there's a code or two out there that might get you maybe $15 more off. So you can get the Black Hubson Xeno for sub $300. That's a pretty good deal there. And they're also running a deal till the 31st of May, I believe, on the FEMI X8 for $399. And I'm thinking that was originally a $500 bird, if I'm not mistaken. So why are they selling these things at these cheap prices? What do you all think? Is it because they had so much difficulty getting the first runs out to the customers and they're trying to get some brand loyalty back? Or are they worried about something on the horizon that might be coming up that's just going to take their whole market away? What do you
Bill, typically these, and John, we can weigh on this too. Basically, these kind of toy Chinese companies, well, we're going to call them like toy grade wannabe Phantom companies here. They tend to, take huge price cuts on their drones 6 months to a year after they first release them. This has kind of been very typical over the years. I think the Hubson 501, which was the first kind of like small GPS quad, I believe. I mean, it probably came out a year before the DJI Mavic did. I think that was $300 when it was first came out, but it was quickly got down to under $250, $200. What do you think, John?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. A lot of these models, they are showing their age at this point, even though 6 months doesn't sound like it's that old, but in the drone world, that's old. And China's very in tune to all of America's holidays, and Memorial Day is no exception. This is the time to put stuff on sale. All the FPV sites have stuff on sale, so Banggood's got to get a piece of that too. And some of that is just them wanting to move their stock, probably, honestly. So yeah, I think it's just par for the course. I don't think there's anything suspicious going on.
Okay, well, I was just curious because like Geek Buying was selling it for like 500. What, $500, Ron?
Yeah, it was at 500, but that was when the first was announced. The black one, they had it first.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I wonder how many, like 2 weeks ago.
I wonder how many fools they got to pay 500.
But I'm just saying, wasn't it literally like 2 weeks ago that they had it first?
Right. And remember, unlike DJI, where DJI is kind of like Apple. The price is the price. You don't see discounting through the internet on DJI products or even Alltel or something like that. The price is the price, kind of like Apple does it. But these other companies like FEMI and Hubson, whatever, they're like the Walmart of drones. I mean, those prices change every time you go in the building.
Yeah, and they get and also a lot of times because of that, these vendors, the individual vendors, will try to see what the market will bear. They'll throw something up for an absolutely ridiculous price just to see if they get anybody to bite it, and they'll come down, and then they'll just slash it when they see, all right, that's not working. They try to see where can they push the limit, just like anybody else. It's not like DJI where honestly the price is going to be set. DJI is actually very strict about the price. I know that from working with a few of these vendors. They would tell me that they really have no leeway on the DJI price. Not only because of what it costs them, but because DJI wouldn't let them drop the price too much. They would actually get in trouble if they did. So you're not gonna see big sales like that on DJI stuff.
Well, remember that Spark sale I posted the other day for like $300?
Yeah, that's old though. That stuff is old. I'm talking about even like anything new.
Right.
And within 6 months.
Right. And that price too, that $30 price, that also indicates that the sparks at the end of the run. When DJI doesn't care what people are discounting a product to, that means it's near the end. And to John's point before about the Chinese companies, those companies kind of fly by the seat of their pants. You know what I mean? They don't have too many rules or regulations. It's just somebody wakes up and they said, well, what's, like you said, we're going to discount it today, you know. Or,
all right, so I want to make an announcement. I'm going to be starting a GoFundMe for furniture because I have no furniture. Brian just suggested it, so please donate to me after the show. I need furniture. I have nothing to sit down on. I'm sitting on a stool. It's the only piece of furniture I have in here. So please donate money to me. I don't want to sell my quads, so I need your money so I can have furniture.
Has a chair, and a laptop, and internet.
You know what? I don't care if this living room stays empty for the next 6 months while we collect furniture. I really don't care. I'd rather wait and buy something nice than fill it up with a bunch of cheap crap. So, that's just my prerogative.
I want to give another shout out to the chat. I see Brian came in. Of course, we're talking about True Drone Reviews. Eric the Red RC and Outdoors came in. Y'all see, man, he did this killer underwater life in a pond series. It was really cool, man. Props Off is in the house. Hellspawn's in the house. Lloyd the Grumpy Vlogger got in a little bit late. He's staying dry. He's in floodwaters too. Lloyd's been posting some footage and stuff on the flood and keeping everybody up to date on there. So as long
where is Lloyd located? He's central United States.
I want to say Oklahoma.
Oh God, yeah, they've been getting hit hard.
Okay, and I'm sure he'll type it in here in a second. FSU grad just jumped into the house. But yeah, Lloyd's been posting some stuff. So the second that you go to Lloyd's channel and he's not uploading new videos, start calling. Okay, but until then, please go to his channel, watch the videos, like and comment.
Bill, I got an announcement here. We got Birdman 316 RC in the house. Birdman just recently won somebody's contest, and he won a quad. I think it's a FPV racing type quad.
It's a B-Brain Light.
Mike,
newbie drone, B-Brain Light. Very,
wow.
very good.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mike.
Oh, yeah. Congratulations.
Very cool. Congratulations, Mike. Something else I wanted to point out. I watched one of Ryan Duvall's video, RD review, drone reviews and stuff, and he posted a review, of course, of another exchange quad from a gentleman happens to be in the chat tonight. True Drone Reviews. He's basically keeping all the hobby reviewers in business. And so, Ron, you and Brian really need to get this thing up and going because you know as well as I do, there's got to be tons of other people out there with stuff they'd be happy to exchange with people.
Brian has a new drone he may want to exchange, a Potansic. He's having trouble with it. He can only get about a minute or two battery life out, and he even got another one. I volunteered to send him my Potansic if it would help him out, but he said, no, don't send it. It's that much of a turd.
Okay, I wanted to go back into the chat. I see Art popped in here, and Lloyd says Muskogee, Oklahoma. So, yeah. So, like I said, please go by and check out his stuff. Go by and check out everybody you see rolling through the chat and everything. If they're not in the chat, go drag them in here. Tell them to get on their phones. Because we're going to talk about some cool stuff here in a minute. We've already talked about some cool prices and stuff. But now, since we're going to get into the meat of it, and pretty much everybody here does a little bit of everything, what I would like each person to maybe talk about, and I'll go to Nemo first after this. Why don't we talk about what made you kind of go, what got you into flying a drone, and then what made you jump from whatever, say, FPV into camera or camera into FPV? So go with that, Nemo.
Well, I saw a couple of YouTube videos of drones, more like the Phantom type drones, and then I watched a a video by a guy. I don't know if y'all have heard of him. He's got a little channel on YouTube, Casey Neistat, where he was, I think he was in South Africa, and he took off his Phantom 4 and it got lost, and it hit return to home, and it came back and landed, and I was like, man, that's so awesome. So I went to Best Buy, I saw him there, and I saw the price tag, and I'm like, whoa. And then I saw the price tag of the Phantom 3 Standard, and I was like, that seems more like it. So I got one of those, started flying it around. I mean, I babied it, had a little backpack with it, everything. And then I saw, like I was mentioning earlier, there was a guy talking about drone racing back in the day, and I can't remember his name. I wish I could find the video. And he was practicing drone racing in a parking deck with his son, and I was like, man, that's pretty cool. And then, like Tommy, I ended up buying a Wizard, the old school Wizard, and man, whew, that thing was it was fun. I mean, looking back at some of the old flight footage of it now, it's like, man, that thing flew like crap. But then I started building, and FPV, it's advanced so much in such a short time. Then I just slowly, I mean, I've got a Phantom 4 Pro now that I very rarely fly. I'm always flying FPV because it just, I don't know, it just seems more exciting to me. But I'm not knocking anybody that has the other style. I mean, I appreciate that. We have a guy that flies with us. He comes out and flies a Parrot, Bebop, and he just flies it. He doesn't really shoot any video with it or anything, but I mean, hey, to each his own, Hey, he's in the air like me, so that's all that matters.
Well, that's pretty cool. Quick to jump back into the chat. I see Borrow Boy Woods is in the house. I can see Idaho Quadcopter. Marcus is in the house. I can see there was a couple more that I passed up here. Prop again. Oh, Steve Carpenter. Steve Carpenter jumped in and joined us in the chat for a little bit. If you haven't checked it out, Steve's been kind of jumping in during the mornings. I think when he's got a little more spare time for board meetings and stuff to take off on him. And he's been jumping in with, Claude, Drone Effects with Claude, I do believe, in the morning sometimes, and hanging out with them. Been on Rodney's channel sometimes. We've got a lot of the other pilots. Rodney Bell's been coming on some. Mike Roche has been on a lot. Trying to remember all the names. Sooner or later, Ethan Mitchell's actually going to live stream and join us in the live stream. Let's see. So next I'm going to go see Ron. Have you ever experienced FPV, or are you just mainly the camera kind of guy, or what?
Well, I started out, of course, with the opposite way of some of the other ones. I started out with a toy quad of the CMX5, and then once I figured I could fly that without destroying it, I bought a Phantom 4. And I come from a photography background. I've kind of been an amateur photographer on and off since I was, say, 20 years old. So, I mean, my goal to fly wasn't to fly, it was to get great pictures. In fact, I went a while before I even started hitting the video button. I just took pictures for a long time. But anyhow, so I got the flying bug, so I started buying toy quads, and I have a few little, FPV, kind of tiny whoops I fly in the house. But as I mentioned before I went in the air, when you have glasses, it's such a struggle to, take the glasses off, get the goggles on. Then if something happens, you have to take the goggles off, get the glasses off, and figure out what went wrong. I think, I hate to sound like a wimp here, but if I had better vision, I think I'd be more into, FPV piloting. But I've done it outside, but I'm more of an indoor guy. I can manage to get it, around the first floor and get up the stairways or whatever, on a good day. But, I want to try more in the future. That's kind of where I stand. What about you, John?
Stop, Rousey.
So let's see. So my quadcopter journey actually started in college. I had seen that my college's STEM group at Bergen Community College, they were working on a drone, and it was a DJI NASA M build. And I saw that, and they had showed me all that, and I just kind of fell in love with the whole idea. And I asked them, what did that cost and all that. And that was an expensive setup at the time. But they told me, oh, you could probably just go on Amazon and find a toy drone. And I went home. I didn't actually think too much of it. Forgot to Google it. And then I was on Reddit. And then the post was, what's something cool that you could buy for $50? And at the very top, it was a link to the SEMA X5C. And I'm like, oh, this is it. I'm like, this is my calling. I'm like, I gotta try this. So that was it. I got the SEMA, and that's really where I started. So I flew that for a while, and I guess I was just amazed at the pictures that I was able to just take with the SEMA, which are crappy. They're crappy, but this is your first drone, right? It doesn't matter what the pictures are. You're loving to take them. So then from there, I lost the SEMA, and I wonder if anyone in the chat remembers Blade 350QX. If anyone in the chat remembers that drone or is familiar with Horizon Hobby stuff, let me know. So that was like my first brushless drone, and I wanted it because it had a camera on it, because it had a gimbal on it. I wanted to be able to capture good picture, good video. So picture and video was my goal for quite some time. Well, what happened was that drone had a massive power failure, and I ended up losing my entire gimbal and camera. That was horrible. I actually almost wanted to freaking quit the whole hobby because I was so pissed. Like, here I was, I had about $400. I bought this thing off of eBay, $400, and it was just all in pieces. My gimbal was ruined, everything. But then I decided to take a breather. I started looking around, and I saw that, well, you can rebuild it, and you can rebuild it with a carbon fiber frame. And I'm like, well, what's this carbon fiber stuff? And people were saying, oh, carbon fiber is great. You put the 350QX, the camera bird, you put in this carbon fiber frame, and you could fly it in sport mode, and you won't break it. And yeah, you won't be able to use it for your camera, but you can still have fun with it. And so that's what I did. I took those guts, I put it in a carbon fiber frame, and I guess I was just sold since then. I loved flying the stuff for sport. So I started with camera, then I found out I loved flying my camera bird for sport, and I flew the heck out of that thing until I finally decided to get a real purpose-built racer, and that was it for me. But I still love my Mavic, which I ended up picking up a couple years ago, because they're both tools. I view them as both tools. You can get great video with the FPV quads, and you can get great video with the camera birds. It's just different video. You can get different experience on both. At least that's just my opinion anyway. I think that some camera bird people who don't want to get involved with FPV are probably missing out on some amazing cinematography that you can get. And also, I don't know about you guys, but I can only fly my Mavic so much in certain areas before it gets boring as hell. I mean, I can fly the same place many times with my racing drone, and it's a thrill every time. But my Mavic, how many times can you fly a field? I mean, and get pictures of the same field over and over again, same trees, and it just gets boring. You really have to go. You have to go out. You have to push yourself to go to new locations, and that's not always an option for me. It's not, it's not always an option. So yeah, I guess that's my journey.
Yeah, remember when Kyle used to rip on me all the time and say, you need to get out of your backyard. You got to fly over that water, man. I've seen it enough. Fly over that water. So anyway,
yeah, but it's hard though. It's hard, you've got kids, if you got other obligations, it's hard to get off your ass and get out there. But getting to a field is a lot easier than just ripping some FPV.
Okay, well, I wanted to get back into the chat though. Ryan has come in. Ryan Duvall's come in. RD's drone reviews. Also, Raymond Millwood's coming in, and there's still a lot of chat going on. Everybody that's in here in the chat, try to sub up to each other. Check out everybody's channel. If you see something that you like on somebody's channel, please let them know about it in the comments section.
Ethan Mitchell has a question.
Go for it. What did it say?
He says, anyone have suggestions on how to progress with FPV? I feel like a lot of us could answer that. Nemo, what suggestions do you have for progressing with FPV? He feels like he does good in the sim, but as soon as he puts the goggles on, he seems to just goes down the tube.
My suggestion would be sim. And I'll say again, sim.
Well, he's saying he does the sim, but I guess he's just not doing it enough.
Okay, well, the way I learned is I was on what is the one that Josh Bardwell, he had a series about how how to fly and hover and stuff, because my first time flying in acro, I would go up in the air and just I couldn't hold it steady. I would go up and just go to the right or left, and I'm like, what's going on? I don't know how to do this. But he's got, he'll tell you how to hover. He's got little lessons that he goes through, and that'll get you the general idea. That's what worked for me. Some people can actually just go out and pick it up, and, they can do it. I could not, though.
Brian of True Drone Review says, I'll do FPV in the next life.
I would love to see Brian do some FPV.
Well, Props Off had a good question. He was asking if he used the sim with the goggles on, or if he just flew watching it, like a computer game. So I guess that would have something to do with it also. Brian from Quad Polo FPV says, just fly. Crash into stuff. Do a Matty loop.
RD's Joan Reviews is saying that Liftoff has some frame rate issues, but he was still able to learn to fly acro with it.
My biggest thing is when I'm flying indoors on a tiny whoop, I'll fly line of sight, and then I'll put the goggles on and I fly FPV, and all I do is keep hitting the ceiling. Like I cannot it takes me the longest time not to hit the ceiling flying with the goggles on. I never hit the ceiling in line of sight, but put those goggles on and I'm banging off the ceiling until I get a lot of practice in.
I don't know about what you guys think, but flying a whoop in the house, especially a brushless one, it's really, really hard to not crash it. I mean, I've had my fair share of crashes of the Tiny Hawk so far. There really just isn't a lot of space to just rip it and practice any kind of acro. I mean, maybe somebody might disagree, but
well, I love flying my Tiny Hawk, and the way the frame's built and everything, you can actually crash it as much, pretty good bit indoors and still be okay. Well, except for that little, you got to fix that with a little hot glue. I may do that eventually anyway.
Yeah, I mean, to tell you the truth, there are so many people that have that problem with it popping out that I couldn't believe that they actually make the tiny hat for the Tiny Hawk.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, I was disappointed. I was really, really disappointed in that, and my camera doesn't work the same as it did. It's definitely not working as well as it did before. It's slightly blurrier.
That's EMAX.
Yeah, I mean, but it was fine before. It was fine before I crashed. But what was their idea with holding the camera on the Tiny Hawk in with two tabs? In my review, upcoming review is gonna bitch about that, because I basically say, this is a product with a design flaw right out of the gate that just shouldn't be there. There shouldn't be people willing to sell tiny hats and all this crap and how to keep the camera in place. You shouldn't have been from the very beginning. But whatever. Also, the VTX is crap.
I think, that's Emacs makes some good stuff, but usually their VTXs for some reason, like on my Baby Hawk, VTX just sucks.
Yeah, and why? And why did they do that? It just drives me crazy.
Because in general, they make really good stuff. I mean, Red Bottoms were they were the stuff back in the day. I don't get it. I don't get why they do that, but oh well.
Brian's saying that 61 years old is too old to learn FPV.
Bull crap. Bull crap.
A good FPV pilot. Brian strikes me as the type of person that once he sets his mind to it, he'll figure it out. That's just the way Brian is.
Oh, and speaking to something that Ron said, he was said about something about having issues with his glasses and stuff. The Quadfather, he has the FXT Vipers,
That's
and,
what I-
and he flies with his glasses on all the time, and he has no issues. So that would be a good idea. And they seem to work very well for him. He loved
Yeah, I want to get those. I definitely do. Next on my list.
They got the diopter lenses too that will just replace your eyeglasses.
Yeah, I kind of don't want to. I don't want to, spend the price of another Mavic 2 Pro on getting this, goggles and the FPC setup. You know what I mean? I don't want to put another $1,500 in it, and diopters aren't cheap, especially if you have a thicker, or heavier prescription like I do. Like, for me to get a nice pair of glasses or whatever, I'm frames, glass, whatever. I'm talking like $500 or whatever, So.
Yeah, same for me.
There's some box though. There's some box ones that'll accommodate glasses.
Yep.
I forget exactly which ones they were.
Yeah, I mean, there are solutions, and they're workable ones, definitely. But I mean,
the robot, man.
What I'm trying to say, none of them are kind of easy or whatever. None of them are comfortable. They're all taking a big step. None of them are as easy as just getting your Mavic out of the case, plop it on the ground, turn the controller on, and go. All that's a commitment.
Yep.
So, and again, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I'm a little maybe too lazy. It's my issue. It's not the issue with the goggles or the FPV flying. It's a Ron issue.
And that's funny you bring that up, because we're talking about the subject of cam and FPV. Can they coexist? There are quite a few people in the FPV crowd that they look at DJI pilots and they're just like, "Ugh, what a credit card pilot! What a noob! They just bought a drone with a credit card and they fly it. They don't know how it works. They can't build it, or they don't do any of that stuff." Like, there's just so much of that, and it's just so immature. It's like,
and then there's always the closet cameras.
It's easy to forget. It's easy to forget how hard a lot of this was when you first started out. It wasn't too long ago. I was talking to my father-in-law. I go, "You're a nerd now," and he's like, "No, I'm not." I'm like, "Yeah, you are." And I'm like, "Okay, do you know what a VTX is?" He's like, "Yeah." And like, "Do you know what 5 gigahertz is and how to set the bands and lock in your channel?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "You know the difference between F4, F3, F7? Yeah."
Okay, we're trying to make light of, Lloyd's still okay. He's not underwater yet. So Steve Carpenter in the chat said he needed to work out a deal with his local RC shops. When the weather was coming and he couldn't fly a drone, he should be able to trade said drone in on a watercraft until it dries up, and then trade it back for the drone and go back and forth. So that was Phantom Hodges drone has popped in. Let's see if we've got any more new names. The chat's going pretty good. Everybody's talking back and forth a lot. But yeah, I wanted to bring that up because I thought that was funny, because Lloyd got a kick out of it too.
Back to something John was saying, that the people consider Phantom or DJI flyers is not real flyers, but like John and I both said, we start out with a SEMA X5. There's nothing automated about a SEMA X5. If you could fly a SEMA X5 and not crash it, you could fly anything, because the thing had brush motors, so it didn't have much power. A good wind would swoop it right away from you. It took massive piloting skills to avoid a crash if it got caught in the wind. Again, it had, I guess, a 3 or 6 axis gyro to keep it level, but that's all it had. Otherwise, you were flying completely manual. It was like a Bugs. If you have a Bugs 3, same thing. Bugs 3 is a brush motor quad. It's outside of an axis to keep it, you don't have to fly accelerated. I mean, it's got nothing automated. If you can fly that thing around the field and not crash, whatever, you're a real pilot. Agreed, John?
Yeah, I agree. But you know what? I want to use the term like real pilot lightly, because it's that's where we're starting to put ourselves into different categories. Yeah, I will say at this point, if you're just kind of putting a GPS drone in the air, these things do tend to fly themselves. You definitely have a higher skill level if you fly a SEMA, but there's also nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with someone whose primary focus is photographer, throw it in the air, get a picture. If that's your bag, then that's it. That's fine. It's really no big deal. But there are just some people that are just like, it's so lame.
Something okay, I've watched Lloyd, the grumpy vlogger, quite a bit, and normally when he's on one of these drone shows, he's always trying to say, well, I'm not that much of a drone pilot. And I'm happy to look, and he says he still has his X5 and his X8. So I'm thinking, well, he must have liked SEMA a long time ago, so he started like a lot of the rest of us, and he's been a droner for a lot longer than he wanted to admit to, it seems like, because I've been through that's where I started, was an X5. An X5 C1, and I've had a couple of X8 clones. Anybody else?
I still have an X8 clone. Oh no, I haven't actually. I have a real X8 sent to me by Birdman 316.
Ryan was saying that everyone should learn to fly on a toy that is full manual with no altitude hold. I would like to see that. I would like to see everybody start with a toy and then get the DJI stuff. And I still think that people should do that just so they can get the joy of, being able to fly it manually. But it used to be sort of necessary, more necessary than it was in the past, because you didn't have all the obstacle avoidance that we have today. You didn't have all these safety features on these new quads that will basically, in most instances, save you from doing stupid stuff.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was actually done.
I think
pretty much.
Who's going to talk? Bueller, anybody?
I will say this: if you go from FPV to something like a DJI or something like that, you will be one up above someone that just starts flying something like a Phantom. And the reason I say this is, if you lose if you lose a satellite, you lose satellites while you're flying and it goes into ADI mode, you'll freak out and you won't have a clue. That actually happened to me one time before I got into FPV, and I went and I lost, and it just was basically about a foot off the ground. It started drifting over, and I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? And had I known, I've been flying FPV a little bit before then, I would have known just to, hey, bring it back, land it, no problem. But it flipped over. I thought it was messed up. I started crying, but it was fine.
Yeah, that's a great point. That really is a great point. I also seem to find that some drones tend to have a more reliable GPS than others. Like my Mavic, I've actually never had my Mavic lose GPS, but the camera bird I used before the Mavic, the Blade Chroma and the 350QX, those things really would randomly lose GPS, and then they would just start drifting. So I really did need to know how to fly manually. I still think everybody should really try to learn how to fly manually, but I see that suggestion less and less recommended in the groups than 2 or 3 years ago. People suggest just buy a Spark. It's cheap. It's only like $200, $300. Just start with a Spark. And
it depends on the individual too, though. Like there's some people that can just jump right in and take right off and do full acro. I mean, honestly, like I'm not never one to brag or toot my own horn or nothing like that, but I only crashed the Wizard a few times the first time I got I got the fundamentals, I guess, on the sim, like Nemo was talking earlier, especially with liftoff and the first DRL sim, when it was free, you could download it on the PC. I got real good with that. I got the fun of, okay, well, this is lifting, this is taking off, this is banking, turning, this and that. Okay, cool. You know what? Let me go try this. The first time I took the Wizard out, I put it on the ground, I fired it up, I hit the throttle, and the thing tried to bury itself into the ground because all the props were backwards. And I didn't bring anything with me. So I had to go home, grab an 8mm wrench, come back, take the props off, flip them all around. Okay, I got it up, I got it going, and holy crap, here it goes. And it's going forward. It's like, holy shit, there's a bunch of trees. And I turned, and it was like, I started shaking, and I was like, I got to land for a second. And I landed by doing cartwheels across the football field, and I had to take a big deep breath and just like, man, that was cool. All right, let me do it again. But there's other people after. I think like I can kind of almost equate it to like you look on the road at who's driving what. You got certain people that are driving what, like little hatchbacks, 4 cylinders, 3 cylinders, even sometimes. They're just going somewhere. Then you got the guy in the WRX and the Supers and all that stuff over here. I mean, they're getting somewhere fast. You know, and you got motorcycles, you got semi trucks, you got this. There's an ass for every seat. And if it's like if you want to fly FPV, man, make it happen. Go do it. Like, you got to do it. Like the question earlier, how do I get better? How do I progress? I asked that question 1,000 times when I started out. There is no answer other than get your stuff in your hands and go out and do it.
Yeah.
That's really the only way. Whether it's on a sim or whether it's out in the field doing it for real. Yes, there is a slight difference. The perception's different. So get the sim, get the stick movements down, make your mind and your hands connect with what you're doing, and then go put your eyes on it outside. And it's, above all else, I think it should be relaxing. Like, everybody, I think, rushed to get I want to be YouTube famous, all that kind of stuff. But if you go out and you could just, all right, I'm putting the goggles on, I'm in my zone, leave me alone, everything's cool for a while, and you feel great for the rest of the day. But then there's sometimes where, you know what, I don't feel like charging 1,000 batteries. I don't have the time because my son's got a baseball game. I just got home from work. The wife wants to go out later. But you know what? I can set this thing up for 20 minutes and just take a look around and just relax and clear my mind that way. So it's like, there's so many different facets of it. Yeah, and then it's like, okay, well, now if my phone finally rings and I can go make money with this thing, boom, I'm out the door with it. It's what you make it, I think, overall. Like, whether you fly FPV, whether you fly a camera, make it yours and own it. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's for you ultimately.
I think that was really well said, man. Really well said.
Hey, I got a question for Tommy. How bad was the learning curve for you going from the from the racing drones to the Phantom 4 Pro?
You know what? I think, in all honesty, I think the learning curve worked against me. I think I had more confidence going into this thing that I've actually crashed this thing and ripped props off of this thing twice. Just from being to the point where, all right, well, this thing's a GPS drone, it flies itself. You know what? I got this. And I'm not really focused on it the way I should be, line of sight. Like, I can see it, I'm watching it, I know what it's doing. But then it's like, all right, well, now I want to get fancy. I know what these sticks do. I want to go over here. I want to get this. Holy crap, what happened? The thing's on the ground. Oh, there was a tree behind me. Holy shit, I didn't even know that.
Hey, I almost crashed the Spark that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's just different. But still, it's kind of, it did make it a lot easier. Like Nemo was saying earlier, like, you know that, like, okay, well, all right, the thing's doing something wonky. What do I do? Well, you know, just your mind just kind of takes over. Your muscle memory. It's like, all right, well, the thing's drifting this way, go that way.
Yeah, and
you just kind of do that. But it definitely helps. But I think you definitely got to watch the cockiness and the over confidence.
Quick shout out back into the chat. I see Steve Carpenter's got a run for us, and I did notice that David has jumped in here. David Grima from Down Under, Perth West RC is in the house. Perth West OZ RC, I do believe. Yeah. So check out his channel. He does a lot of. He's still getting a hold of some decent toys down there because they got Kmart and stuff down there where he can pick stuff up in the store. So he's still reviewing a lot of stuff. He does a lot of Tello-based reviews. He's actually this Tello FPV app has really got me interested because it's using the GPS positioning in your phone in combination with the visual positioning system of the Tello to basically give the little drone GPS.
And he's also recently reviewed the Beast drone, like kind of like a toy drone with a lot of advanced features. But watch his review to the end, though. John, I got something for you. I posted this around a little bit. I don't know if I posted it in your group, but you see, somebody figured out how to hack the Mavic that you could fly it in attitude mode.
Yeah.
I saw that. That looks like a pretty cool mod.
It came out on Drone U, and I'm like, isn't he like the lollipop boy for legality and stuff? And now once he's like, hack your drone, and I was like, wait a minute, did something change?
It wasn't too long ago that people were working on hacking that attitude mode, and I changed my sport mode to Addy mode on the Mavic, but the Mavic 1. But the Mavic 1 has this problem where it just doesn't behave correctly in Addy mode. I guess the Mavic 2 it fares better on there. Like these modes are on these drones, but DJI hides them away from you. That's what's so cool about hacking your stuff. You know, hacking your stuff is legal. That's not illegal. I'm all for hacking your stuff if you can do it.
I mean, take my drone away?
What?
DJI won't take my drone away?
It's your property, man. You bought it. I mean, I see some people like, oh, hacking the drone is just a bad thing. Why do that? So it's your property. It's your right. If you have the ability to do it. Just don't do something stupid with it. Don't fly at an airport with it, please. Don't. I mean.
Hey John, before we get away from this, last summer I put the Insta360 on top of my Mavic 1 down the beach, and it must have blocked the GPS. It flew in ATTI mode.
Yeah, that's what it was doing.
It came on and set on the screen, ATTI mode, and I took it up and flew it. It was cool because, as we mentioned before, I had no problem flying any drone in altitude hold mode. You know, I grew up doing that, so you know, I flew it around. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, it is. It is cool. It really is cool. The issue that I had with the Mavic 1 was it would get into ATTI mode, and then if I flew out about 100 feet, GPS would kick back on. So I could never get it to stick. Maybe now they've fixed that.
Huh.
I don't know. I'm going to check it out. It's very, very cool. No Limit Drones has also made a lot of this so much easier than it was a couple years ago to just hack these quads. And I guess DJI just isn't doing a good job of keeping people from doing it. So, I mean, I'm fine with that. Less logging, the better. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's nobody's business no company's business what I'm doing when I fly my drones.
You want to hear something funny? I had to crash the Tiny Hawk so hard until John was talking about, I couldn't believe they just mounted it in there with 2 little plastic clips. And then I got to looking and I was like, well, damn, mine's already knocked loose.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. I don't have my Tiny Hawk with me, or I'd show you its glued ass mess right now.
Right there. That's what you're talking about. Is that little gap there? Is what he's talking about? The tiny hat. So,
yeah, yours is messed up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm like, well, figures, man.
If you've got tweezers is the best way to get that thing popped back in. And if you just squeeze the head, it bends the head up, and then you can kind of get it back in. I mean, oh man, I shouldn't have said that.
But that'll be edited out in the recorded version.
Edit that out. Take that out. Just delete that. Delete that or
head back up. Squeeze the head back.
Just squeeze the head of that Tiny Hawk.
Yes. We need that's what we need. We need this on a t-shirt, just like this. Squeeze
it out. Just squeeze it. I'm Italian. I talk with my hands. I can't help it. It works against me sometimes. This is terrible.
It's gonna be the drone therapy. We need to do that. It's already going through the chat, man.
Squeeze the head. Use those tweezers.
Squeeze the head out. We lost track of everything.
While you guys are choking here, we were talking about good line of safe flyers. We won the best line of safe flyers on YouTube. Been with us tonight. Eric the Red's in here with us. If you watch some of his videos over the years, he does some incredible line of safe flying. He lives in his big property in North Carolina. He's got these open fields and.
Oh, yes. His pyrotechnics are awesome. He has alien invasion videos, dude. It's really killer.
I have to check that out.
All the rockets mounted to him, and they're attacking. And
we're at North Carolina, because Quadfather and I, we're in Winston-Salem, Rural Hall area.
Oh, yeah.
Eric, where are you in North Carolina?
They're trying to hook up with you, man. So you all might, oh, wow. Because see, now that we got a thing going, Brian, if y'all haven't looked at it, Brian was suggesting this. We kind of tried to talk about it once before, maybe introducing some like in the field reporting. Like we could have people like either send in videos or something. They could say, okay, in the field for drone therapy, reporting on and whatever events going on in their hometown, or like it could just be an FPV session, or it could be a camera bird session. Could just people going into a hobby shop, and then we would show it and give their channels exposure and stuff. Well, Brian Quadfather FPV was talking about, going and doing something. Because if you haven't checked out Brian's channel, he does a lot of comic relief stuff, and him and Nemo, they go flying together a lot over at Neverland, and I'll let them explain Neverland. Go check out their channels for that. So we were thinking of things like that would be really cool to introduce into the show and stuff. So heck, if you're close to people, please, by all means, yes, Eric the Red, get with them.
Eric's in Fairmont, North Carolina. Have you ever heard of Fairmont?
I have not.
Okay.
So how you said you're in Winston-Salem?
Yes.
How far is Fairmont from Winston-Salem, Eric?
And you said Birdman RC's in North Carolina too. He's in Burlington.
Yeah, that's not far at all.
Really?
And something else, people, if you all didn't know, is Tommy and Ron have flown together. Is there video actually produced of this?
Well, let me speak up here for a second, Tommy. I have a bunch of video on my desk from that day we flew at the haunted Gabriel Davis Tavern in New Jersey. But I've been in the process of moving, and I have very little free time. But I will get that stuff out of
no problem.
Pardon?
On my YouTube, there's I forget which video it is, but there's a video in there of me orbiting your bugs.
Oh, really?
Did it have the 360 hanging from it that day? You had something hanging from that thing. That day.
I'm not sure.
But I have the videos on there somewhere of me orbiting that, and you can see if you look real close, you can see.
If you go back to my channel, I have video of Tommy flying in like his 5-inch quad at the high school.
Oh yeah. That my channel. My channel is Polo FPV, but it's Polo spelled P010.
And mine, you have to look. You have to go Ron Brown, but you have to type in drone. You have to type in Ron Brown drone because there's a million Ron Browns. But you put the word drone after. I'm using the first one that popped up. But I have incredible footage of Tommy flying his Phantom 4 Pro V2.0 at the Gabriel Davis Tavern or whatever. I just got to edit this and get it up, but it will be up soon. I wanted to get up for your birthday. Tommy just had a birthday this week. He's like 29 now, I think, or whatever. So congratulations. Happy 29th birthday.
Everybody that's on the show tonight, if you'll look in the description, you'll see a link to not only their individual YouTube pages, but also the Coast to Coast Drones Facebook page, as well as we do have a newly created Drone Therapy Facebook page set up for just the show. Because hopefully, sometime I've got a YouTube channel set up specifically for drone therapy. Hopefully, eventually we'll get over there. But the cool thing about Tommy's channel, if y'all haven't checked it out, is his icon is Snoopy flying on the drone. I'm going after the Red Baron. I just posted his link into the description or into the chat. So that always brings back memories of Snoopy versus the Red Baron, the song. My mom used to play that for me when I was little.
Oh, the Christmas song? What I usually played around Christmas time?
Yeah, every year. It never failed, and it was pretty cool. And then they played, and it was actually they had Snoopy was in one of the cartoons where he was behind enemy lines and stuff. And I can't remember what year that was.
We don't even want to say what year that was, Bill.
I think Brian's got to go to bed. He's checking out. Everything else is going pretty good. I haven't seen any new people really jumping in.
Sorry.
Trying to get us back on course because he's like, "Are we still talking about drones?" And then, Brian's saying he's available for an interlude this weekend. I mean, to fly drones.
Which Brian?
Quadfather FPV down there in the North Kakalaki area.
Where's he located? North Carolina?
Yeah.
So I gotta make a road trip. Well, I'll make a road trip, and we'll all meet up at Winston-Salem.
Yeah, come on.
And Nemo will take us out to the best flying field in town.
Oh, it's great. You'll love it.
We have a new user, Matthew. He says, "I'm new here and love this show." Well, welcome to the show, man.
We'll do our best. We aim to sometimes go crazy and off subject and randomize. And
hey, Nemo, do you have a Waffle House near you?
Yes, sir. I sure do.
We'll hit in the Waffle House afterwards.
Oh, sounds like a plan.
We're old men. We like food. Sorry. We talk about barbecues and everything. We're at that point of the show where our Alzheimer's kicks in and we start to ramble and we talk about old music and old shows. And I asked them if I should watch Captain Marvel, and they told me no yesterday. So maybe I have to.
No, that was John. That was nobody.
That was just me.
Well, that's cool. Well, yes, we're glad to have you in, Matt. And if you haven't already checked it out, go to. Curtis said to ask Polo about his rooftop crash.
Oh, what's the
that was
crash?
kind of the one. That was the one I kind of touched on. I was flying. I was trying to think, like, I want to get like a portfolio, something going, something to showcase. Like, I got a YouTube channel with 60, 70 videos of FPV stuff. Okay, great. 80% of them are at the high school where me and Ron go to. But I wanted to get something going with the Phantom here. It's like, all right, we could take some pictures. I got to get some videos. I got to do something. It's like, all right, well, what can you do with this thing? I got apps that'll measure things and do 3D models and all this crap. You know what? Let's go to a roof, an old abandoned building. I flew to race quads there one day. It was great because the place is enormous and there's nothing there but a building and some trees, and it was fun. But I figure, all right, well, the roof of this thing's got to be enormous. So I take the Phantom over there. I get up and I was like, holy crap, this thing was, I mean, like, they had like trailer cars on top of it with doors in them that you like people could like go and hang out in. Like the thing was enormous. But I was getting I think like a left sideways pan and shot of the vents that were like as tall as me, and whatever it was, there must have been like either an access stairwell or an elevator or something. There was just this one stupid square structure in the back corner of this building, and that was it. Everything else was the same level. Well, I'm coming across this thing. I'm like, all right, well, let me speed up a little bit. And all of a sudden, I just see the thing spinning and it falls to the ground. Whoa, what the hell? And then that was when I hit the thing and I crashed it. Well, here I'm thinking like, all right, well, where's the return to home? Where's this? Where's that? I got no video. I got nothing. What the heck is going on? I knew about where it was. So I go over and I was like, oh my God, this is great. Now I got to get this thing, and I got nothing. So I drive the truck over. I back up to the building. I jump in the back of the truck up to some wall that was around the entrance, and I get up there, and then I get up on top of the roof, and here I go find the thing sitting right up on its legs. I mean, what's your problem, dude? The battery's 10 feet over that way. So I'm gonna have a hard time returning anywhere with no battery in it. But nothing. I grabbed it. I bring it down. I look at it, and for argument's sake, Curtis told me that battery was dead, nothing, gone. But Curtis has an in with this thing called Air Data, and he helped me out to check that battery, and that battery is good. And I'm glad, because them batteries are freaking expensive for that thing. I think $20 for a China Hobby Line 1500 milliamp 4S. That ain't nothing. These things are way beyond that. But they're worth. They're good. But you get a half hour of flight out of them. So if you're paying by time, that's that. But honest to God, these little prop mounts, I think one of them broke, and I needed a new set of props, and the thing's golden back up in the air, no problems. Oh, but these things, I'll tell you, like just to touch back into the FPV versus these things. Fly FPV and never fly one of these, fine, no problems with that. But go get one, get it in the air. Yeah, you're not going to have any problems flying it. But guess what? I want you to go focus on a subject, keep on that subject while you do an orbit or a pan or anything else, and then use the manual camera settings. Then come back and talk to me and tell me how impressed. I honestly, I started out with FPV saying the same thing. DJI guys added a bunch of, sissies, you're going to fly. Oh, yeah, it's real easy. The things fly themselves. Big deal. No, dude, they flying, it's no problem. Doing everything else that you wanted to do while you're flying it, that's where you need some skill.
Yeah.
So I challenge you all. Go ahead and try it. Because if nothing else, it'll either piss you off or you'll have a hell of a lot of fun doing it. One or the other.
That's why I came up with drone therapy, because like you're talking about, if there's tons of things that stress you out, if you can even a little toy drone like this, if you can get 5 minutes just off to yourself flying around with a little bitty drone where nobody else is bugging you, stuff is a lot easier to deal with.
Right? Rod's got whoops.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, guys, I terrorize the dogs with him, and it makes me feel great.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh-oh.
There we go. Now we got a race going.
Like one of my first videos that I actually posted on YouTube was my dogs chasing my SEMA around the backyard, and they were having a blast. They were loving every minute of it.
The dogs are fun with them. I got one of the things. I got a photograph of the tiny whoops about this high, and I got a blurry picture of the dog's face coming up. I got to edit it to make it look like Jaws.
Yeah, I made a couple of videos on my YouTube. Me outside chasing the dog. It's hilarious. That's part of the fun with him. You can go out and chase animals and terrorize them, and not worry about hurting them.
Oh my goodness, we shouldn't be talking about terrorizing animals with Jones here. You're gonna get the ants. Someone's gonna call on.
Yeah, we're in big trouble.
Good Lord.
My name is Bill Thomas.
Your address is Seattle, Washington.
Yeah.
It's somewhere up north. I don't know where I live.
No, I live in New Jersey, near this guy named Tommy Polo. And my name is Gary.
I have an interesting point though. When you're flying a Phantom and you're not supposed to go out of line of sight, right? But once you go somewhere and you look down at the screen and you're flying, aren't you technically flying FPV then?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about it.
You're allowed, as long as you are within clear sight of the drone,
Right.
you are allowed to look at your monitor and look back up.
Right.
Now you're not supposed to. This is where your own discretion comes in. You're not okay. It's right there. Okay, now I'm going to go fly.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to do that, but you are allowed. But if you want to avoid any kind of problems, you have a visual observer.
Right.
Because if you had the DJI goggles, if you had, you would need a visual observer then to watch the quad for you in line of sight.
Yes.
Okay, I see Raymond Millwood's calling it a night, and I had to. Lloyd came up with something funny. He says, "People eating tasty animals, PETA."
By the way, Raymond's a great little FPV pilot in his own right. He's got the it's not the Tiny Hawk, but he's got that other Tiny Whoop that's real popular. He has some great videos where he's flying at inside, outside. Check Ray's channel out. Pardon?
The Mobula?
Right. He's got the Mobu 7.
Okay.
He's got some great videos, so check his channel out.
I see Ethan Mitchell is saying it takes me a lot of practice to get the shots I get for the channel. And then Ryan from RD's Drone Reviews followed up and said that there's a lot of videos lately of the tornadoes recently, and a lot of them are terrible due to too fast of the movements. I mean, yeah, that's true. That can happen. It can definitely. I feel like if I was filming a tornado, though, I would be shaking. I feel like, oh my God, I don't know how I would stay calm trying to film a tornado. To be fair.
I don't know if we should be encouraging people to take.
Yeah. Animals and tornadoes.
We better not do that. See, they're calling and telling me now I shouldn't do that.
Well, RD's Drone Reviews has a point that it's tough to get that smooth, to get a nice, good, smooth, professional looking panning shot, or however you want to do it, whether it's a pullback or a straight down, anything. To make it smooth, it requires a lot of finesse in the fingers. You can mess. I had to adjust the settings because at first, man, it was real touchy. It was like, wow, I really suck. But then once I dialed the expo down a little bit, kind of was like, all right, now I can kind of do this.
You're right, Tommy. A lot of it is dialing in your settings. I mean, you have to have skills too, but also you need to dial in your settings to match your skill level.
Yes, definitely.
And also that Ryan was clarifying that he was talking about, after the tornado had passed, it was just taking pictures of the damage and stuff.
Okay, all right.
It's cool.
There was a popular video going around a couple weeks ago where a drone did follow a tornado, and it followed all the way to the point where the tornado ended.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, that was interesting. And I guess you say don't encourage people to follow tornadoes. Well, first of all, you couldn't do it on purpose. It's not like you could stand there and wait for a tornado. The only way it's going to happen is spontaneous. It's not like a pre-planned event.
Keep your batteries charged.
It's not. There's no place you can go to find a tornado. They just happen, and they happen. For a couple minutes, and then they're over. So
Ron had a cool idea though build a race quad, and then fly it into a tornado.
Oh,
As long as you got the SD card on a string.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They do flights like that with tiny whoops, and they call them one-way whoops.
Yeah, I can see that.
And that's it. They're gone.
DVR until it's gone.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, and I wasn't paying attention. I don't know if you guys touched on this, but RD was talking about the tornado damage, not the tornadoes themselves. Yeah, I mean, it's true. You really need to have camera skills to create good video with those birds. And there's probably a lot of FPV guys that don't know how to put together a good video. I mean, when it comes to the camera bird stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
There's camera guys that aren't no good at it either.
That's kind of what has got me away from flying the Phantom so much, because I've never really gotten to the whole.
Okay.
I never really got into the the settings and stuff of the video. I never really went that far into it, so
Yeah.
and I went and flew a couple of days ago with Quadfather. Went out. I thought I had my GoPro set up right, everything. I'm like, man, this is going to be great. I'm shooting in 2.7K. Everything is going to look wonderful. I come back, it's not in super view. When I go up in the air and come back down to the ground overexposed, I'm like, man, something isn't right. So wasted all that.
You need filters.
I had an ND filter on it, but it just, I don't know. I'll figure it out.
John, can you talk?
Yeah, I can talk now. The echo just makes everything, because there's no furniture in here. So sorry about that, guys.
Oh, no, that's cool. I muted you real quick. I just didn't know if you were done doing stuff or whatever. Let's see. We're actually using drones inside tornadoes now. Okay, so yeah, probably that would make sense. So they're flying into the middle, maybe. I don't know.
The eye.
I can see Rotor Wright doing like, okay, we dove a tornado.
That would be cool. I'd like to see that.
That would be awesome. Can you imagine the footage you would get from an inside if you could see it from inside the eye wall?
Oh,
The last time they dived something, they got in trouble. So I don't think they're going to.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Those Canadian bridge dives.
The point is you got people out there in Tornado Alley, they're storm chasers that are doing it all the time.
Yeah.
So how are they not going to break down on them? And you're going to be like, yeah, we're riding along in the dune buggy and we're going to race drones and like, well, we're following them.
Yeah, we're with them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That storm chasing stuff is so dangerous.
You're filming for Twister too.
Yeah.
But because if you all do this, somebody does that. We thought of it here first, actually, to dive a tornado.
Yes.
Would that be
documented?
If you could actually do it inside and down inside.
is that what we call a drone challenge?
I don't know about that one. I don't.
The first drone challenge.
How close would you be able to be to pull that off? Because you'd still have to be fairly close, and you're still taking a heck of a risk.
Yeah, I mean,
Fire and rapid fire, you're good to go.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, but how far away could you be though? Like a mile?
I don't know, but what's the difference between a drone and a quad?
I always want to know that too. I'm glad you asked.
Drone looks more like an airplane with no people in it and drops bombs.
There you go.
And a
quad
has
implies
and a
four
quad has
rotors.
4 arms and motors and
So they're all quads.
skies.
I like that. I like that.
But yeah, they're all quads. That works. Or
Multi-rotors, quadcopters. Yeah, that's.
I thought we were going to get into one of those. You don't call your fraternity a frat, conversation. I didn't know for sure where we were headed. I was like, oh no, it's not one of those, man.
I actually used to own a hexacopter once. It was pretty badass, but I sold it.
So that's a drone. So a drone is any so a helicopter could be a drone, or two props could be a drone, or what are we specifying as to? So a drone is just a spy or weapon of mass.
Does the drone have to have a camera?
No, I think a drone is a dummy unless somebody is remotely piloting it.
Now,
Or
listen to what you just said. Think about what you just said. Someone's remotely piloting it. I guess they're all drones.
The drone is the dummy, not the person piloting.
No,
Well, it could be, Tommy.
yeah.
In my case, I'm sure it is.
We've got a drone is an autonomous vehicle. So Ryan's saying yes, UAV. So
Drone UAV.
So that's unmanned aerial vehicle. So, and Brian's saying autonomous vehicle.
So we're quadcopter pilots then.
Okay, props off is saying a drone is something that observes. Night Train's saying is a military. Okay, so he's saying it can also be a plane type is also a drone.
Yeah, Reaper or the Predator.
Yeah.
So when the FAA asked me if I was flying a drone over a certain place, I'll say nope. I was flying a quadcopter.
Quadcopter. There you go.
Yeah.
That's for accuracy.
Yes.
UAV. UAV. Yes. Curtis has got a good point. Navy ships have drones. They have drone ships. You know, what is it? Who is it that's been launching missiles? The rockets here, like SpaceX. They've got a drone ship that they land them back on the fuel tanks and bring them in.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Oh wow. Okay. Why? I wonder because he said arse. That's weird. I was like, what's wrong with that, man?
I know that language.
Oh, we've already said shit and damn once or twice, and so if the censor gets us, the censor gets us. I don't care at this point. Let's just not go for any of them. But there. Captain Cook eats, but oh yes, y'all ever yes, he does that from time to time. He takes like that. If you ever, since we're kind of winding down here, another one of the guys that I used to stream with a lot, still real good friends with, is Captain Cook. If you hadn't had a chance, go check out his channel. He does like these, send it to me and I'll eat it challenges. He eats bugs. He eats like scorpions.
I have seen those videos.
Like 9 million degree pepper videos, man. I mean, so that's he also flies. He's got what's the big unique, the 6-bird, what is the big one?
Yeah.
Typhoon?
Yeah, the Typhoon H. The Typhoon H.
He got Typhoon H.
He's got some FPV drones. He's got a few he's got a ghost drone he's done some experimenting with. He does some 3D printing, he does some fishing, he kind of does a little bit of everything. So he kind of does a lot of stuff similar to Eric the Red. So I think that, hell, they're both down there in North Carolina too. Man, there's a bunch of y'all down there that need to hook up and have like a big old barbecue, man.
I know we need to move to North Carolina.
I don't know, you might get in trouble because I think a lot of people are expecting you in either Philadelphia or Florida.
My father's born in North Carolina, so I'm kind of a what do you call it? It's like a word, like I'm almost grandfathered in or something like that.
Yeah.
My father's born there.
Where at? Do you know?
I don't. It's a name that doesn't like it doesn't mean anything to me, so I can't recall it or whatever.
Right.
I'll ask him next time.
Okay.
I think he moved when he was a child, so I mean we'll say he lived there until he was 10, something like that. He only lived there as a child.
Okay, so I see Ryan said something about, okay, to be honest with you, there's no animosity at all with them boys. It's just that I do believe that Chris is kind of taking the channel in an FPV direction, so they're going that way. And it's not so much that Neil was done. It's just Neil wants to do some 3D printing. Neil wants to do some fishing. Neil wants to do some camera bird drone stuff. Neil wants to do some, do-it-yourself videos. He just doesn't want to be boxed in doing just drones. So there was no, big falling out there or anything. As far as I know, it just, and Neil's working 12-hour shifts and he's been on them for a while. So he just, whenever he gets on, he just gets on spur of the moment. So that's,
yeah, I want to second that. Neil's a great guy. He's got an interesting channel, like Bill said. He's got some fishing videos. So if you haven't checked out his channel, what Captain Cook, go over and check it out and like subscribe to his channel. Neil's a great guy. Talk to him. You know, he'll definitely hit you back. So go back to you, Bill.
Well, and of course, like it's Tommy's been on here tonight. He brought it up briefly at the very beginning. Curtis has been on throughout the night. Please, if you hadn't got a chance, go over and check out the Drone Owners Network live. They do broadcasts on Saturdays. I don't know. Did you all do one last Saturday, or were you sick?
Last Saturday we took a break. It was Memorial Day, and we wanted to give us a break. Curtis gave us a break. Curtis wanted to take a break. Now we all agreed kind of we were taking a break.
Okay, but anyway,
I did mention though, you guys that were interested in your 107s this Saturday, we have Jason Shappert from Remote Pilot 101.
Oh, wow,
he's our guest this week.
Ooh.
So
that's our guy, bro. That's our guy, John.
I definitely check that one.
Ain't that our
You
guy?
guys ought to check that out, man. This stuff is. You want to pass a test, man? This is the guy to get it.
I do. I paid for his course. He
already has our money.
Oh,
Yeah.
you say hi.
I already have Remote Pilot 101.
We don't. Oh, you don't have Remote Pilot 101?
No, I do have it.
Okay, so yeah, we just don't ping his site that often. Oh my God, Gary's on fire.
I bought that with the code from Ken Heron's show back in I think it was October or something like that.
But no, I'm definitely going to catch that, Tommy. I definitely want to hear him speak.
Cool. Yeah, it'll be Saturday night, 6. What is it? 9 Pacific, 6 Eastern. There we go.
Okay.
Are you going to be on? You're going to be on later? Because I thought normally you're on one at 3.
Is it 3? No, you know what? Maybe it's right. I got it, but no, I got it backwards.
It's 6 time, 3 hour time.
I'm flipping the coast. You're right. Thank you, Bill.
All right. Yeah. So there we go. So like you said, if you haven't already checked, I see Art's Fishing Channel came in because Art is talking about fishing. And like you said, we're changing the time. Okay. Curtis is throwing in the chat. We're changing the time.
Uh-oh. Live update.
Yes. Give us the live update.
Breaking news.
Tell our 20 people watching. We're back to the Jeopardy moment. We're going on. Oh, so you're going to go on at 9 p.m. on the East Coast, 6 p.m. on the West Coast?
I got to stay up late, Tommy.
I know we were talking about it, and I wasn't sure 100% on the.
Yep. There we go. So 9 p.m. on the East Coast, 6 p.m. on the Pacific Coast.
Okay.
I just was checking because you all normally were on at 3, and I just wanted to make sure.
I won't be there.
Hey, your NyQuil is working.
Awesome.
Your NyQuil is working.
Hey, Bill, can I do a promo also?
You can do anybody here want to do a promo? Go for it.
Okay. The show Marcus Crawford and I do, Xeno Nation, is normally on Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But we took off this, just like Tommy, we took off for Memorial Day and celebrated, our veterans who served our country and, everybody who served. But anyhow, so we're going to do a special show this Friday, the 31st, at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. I know it's a bad time, but this is a show we're going to have Sean Matthews, the head of the Drone Seekers, the Spanish Drone Seekers, and the whole Drone Seekers International crew. There's Yorkshire Drone Seekers. They're all over Europe, and there's some in the U.S. too. So Sean Matthews will be on us live with us at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 10 p.m. in Spain and 9 p.m. in the U.K. and figure it out for the rest of the U.S. But Sean, if you've never watched Sean, the Drone Seekers, he's a great guy. He used to have a show called The Two Phantoms. I mean, he's been flying longer than most of us. And, he's an expat. He's moved from somewhere in England, which we'll find out where that was, to Spain. But he's just a great guy. He does a lot to help the drone community out. He has drone meetups or whatever, and they sell T-shirts, and they're just a great organization. So please join us. You probably in the U.S. you'll probably be working or something like that, but watch the replay or whatever. Because Mark is not going to talk too much. We're going to let Sean do most of the talking, so it'll be a great show. So back to Bill Thomas for more breaking news.
Oh, so you're not going to do like me and talk for like 95% of the show and let everybody else talk for 30 seconds?
We're going to flip that around. Sean's going to talk for 95%, and Marcus is not going to talk for 5%.
Okay, very cool. I'm over here still trying to do it without tweezers, but I'm gonna have to squeeze the little head up. I guess.
Dude. Oh my God, that's all right. Someone needs to like screen cap that and just that section of the live stream and post that in the group. I'm gonna download this video and just screen cap that and upload it later.
Everybody, the thing that's going to be so funny is that's what we just, every time that somebody uploads something on Facebook in the group, we just need that's how we need to answer it, man. And everybody's going to be like, "What the fuck?"
Just squeeze that.
Like, you had to be there, man. I'm telling you, I'm going to make a shirt now. I've already got to squeeze the head up. I mean, that's what it's going to say. And I got to find 2 fingers and hands, kind of like this.
Didn't he say squeeze the little head?
Oh, squeeze the little head up.
Squeeze the little head. Squeeze the little head.
Up. With tweezers, no less.
Of the tiny hawk.
In all total seriousness.
Soundbite.
Okay.
Drop that soundbite randomly.
Okay, since Ron's given his announcement about what he's doing, we've given an announcement on the Drone Owners Network live. So please go check them out on Saturday, and it's going to be a later show, like we said, 9 p.m. on the East Coast, 6 p.m. on the Pacific Coast, and I do believe that Ron and John both next week are going to be moving and storing and moving into their new homes. So I think it's probably just going to be me and Nemo, and I'm going to get something that Nemo already has, and I'm going to take it somewhere special with my family. So we're going to have probably some interesting videos and stuff to show next week. And with that being said, does anybody else want to say anything or add anything before we go into good nights?
I'd like to say thank you for having me, fellas. I had a good time and I appreciate it.
Hey, I'd like to have all of you on here individually. I want to get Curtis on by, as well. I can do it one time anyway. But yeah, and I'd like to get Randy on sometime too, if he'll come on, and everybody if they're willing. But
awesome. I'll let them know.
Yeah,
I'm sure half of them at least have heard it.
So anybody else? Ron, you got anything you want to throw in?
I just want to thank, I want to thank Tommy for being on the show tonight. It was great having him on. He needs to come on more regularly. He's a great all-around flyer, whether it's FPV racing or a DJI filming pro drones. He's great, and I'm going to get that footage up from the tavern real soon. And I want to thank our regulars here, Nemo and John, for being on the show. And I want to thank Bill Thomas for hosting a great show every week. And we're going to send it back to and John, you want to final thoughts?
I don't really have that much going on. Like Bill was saying, I'm kind of working on moving. I'm between places right now, trying to get all my stuff moved. So until then, I guess my stuff's kind of on hold. But hey, I love being on the show. It's always awesome coming on here and talking with you guys. And like I said, it's awesome.
Water?
You guys are a great bunch.
Is Mommy still there?
Do this anytime.
Mommy, I'll be in a minute.
Oh,
she's asking for some water. Yeah, that's what can you sit down for a minute?
Oh, I do have a final thought for Bill. Oh God, he left. I was gonna tell him, squeeze the little head and put that hot glue in there. He's got to get that hot glue. The second he fixes that tiny hawk, he needs to fill it with hot glue, or he needs to get one of those tiny hats. Personally, I would just fill it with friggin' hot glue, but because he's just gonna knock the camera out, and then he'll knock the lens off, and he'll end up with the situation that I had. So he's got to take that advice seriously.
John, you know what to say about quads? Fly them and fix them?
Yeah, fly and fix.
Nemo, you have any final thoughts for the night?
Yeah, I'm going to start doing something. It may take off, it may not. It's going to be like a little parody news thing about drones, and Quadfather and I are going to work it out. It's just going to be poking fun. It's just completely 100% comedy. It's not going to be anything serious. I mean, we've been kicking around some ideas, and it may take off, it may not, but I've been wanting to try it. So, and it's going to poke fun at FPV pilots, cam pilots, any kind of pilot, wings, I mean, you name it, we're just going to make fun of everybody, but it's all going to be parody. It's not going to be taken seriously. We're going to try to add some humor into everything. So that's going to be coming.
I'm definitely interested.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Very cool, very cool. And Sparky the drone dog always has to make an appearance as usual. Oh, really, it was that boring.
Wow. Wow.
Believe, huh?
Oh,
I feel you, Sparky.
Sparky,
I don't have my pets here. I miss the cats. They're annoying, but I do miss them.
And with that being said, as I'm grateful to have everybody on here like we have every week. Some people have even mentioned that they feel like they're watching a Skype conversation, and that's kind of the part of the deal. That's why it's drone therapy. It's almost like you're kind of sitting in the garage with some of your best friends, you drinking your favorite beverage, and you're talking about what kind of motors you're going to put on your next build, or you're talking about what kind of filters you're going to buy for your next camera drone. It's just the kind of thing that makes us relieve tension, relieve pressure, and we love sharing that with you all every week. And with that being said, I want to say thank you to everybody. Please, if you haven't had a chance to watch the whole show, watch the replay, share it with your friends, and come back next week. We're going to try to do this thing every week. We're always going to try to have the same basic core with me and John and Gary and Ron. And we're going to try to get some more guests on here. I think we're going to try to get Curtis Dart on here. Just Curtis Dart, not the whole bunch. I think he said that Randy's too busy with some other things right now. So anybody,
dude.
Yeah, in the chat that wants to come on the show can get a hold of any one of us. Tommy can get a hold of me. Anybody, most everybody knows how to get a hold of me. If you can't get a hold of me, then get a hold of Ron, get a hold of John, get a hold of Nemo, and you all can come on the show and talk about whatever subject you want to. We'd love to talk about toy drones, unique drones. It just so happens it's not what I own, but I'm open to any kind of drone. I just love drones in general. And so with that being said, again, I've said with that being said about 18 times now, squeeze the little head, and we'll see you next week.
Don't forget about my GoFundMe for furniture.
Oh, yes, and John's GoFundMe for furniture.
I mean,
John's Vino Nation special this Friday, and Drone Owner Friday, right, Ron?
4 p.m.
Friday, 4 p.m. And Drone Owners Network, special time, special place, Drone Owners Network Live.
And special guest.
9 p.m. Eastern. Peace.